beautiful friends. My name is Devika. I am a children's book author and illustrator. Last week I visited a couple of bookstores and a local library, and I was amazed to see so many good children's books which are published this year. And by this year I mean in last 3 months, and they are so beautiful. So it was really hard for me to pick up two books for this book video, and by children's book I'm not counting in chapter books. I'm just talking about the picture books, and there are so many fantastic books in the market. But finally, I have got two very beautiful children's books, and I'm really glad to share those with you guys. So let's begin with the first one. It's called There Are No Bears in This Bakery. It's written and illustrated by Julia Sarcone-Roach. This book is published by Alfred Knopf, and it's a beautiful book. And if I have to tell you, the highlight of this book is the writing. I really love her writing, and of course the illustrations. So it's a story of this cat Muffin, and Muffin knows everything that goes around in the neighborhood. By the way, it's a very smart cat, and it knows like what's going on in the neighborhood, what's going on in the barber shop, whether there are mice or raccoons in the neighborhood, everything. Until one night it hears a very weird sound coming from the bakery, and the name of the bakery is Little Bear Bakery. And so Muffin decides to investigate. And by the way, Muffin is not only smart, but Muffin is a detective, which I really love this part. And so Muffin goes to the bakery, and you have to find out what happens next. It's a very funny book. And why I say I really like the writing, because the metaphors that the writer has used, especially when the Muffin enters the bakery. She writes, I slipped into the darkness like icing melting down a hot cake. It's so funny. And the most favorite part of mine is Muffin's tale. So Muffin says, I was surprised. The bear was surprised. My tail was the most surprised. So funny. And in the next illustration, you will see that Muffin is sensing there is something out there in the bakery, and it says, I mean, my tail had a tail. I mean, there was something in the darkness. I absolutely love her writing, and if you guys see the illustrations, they are so beautiful. I really like the bright colors here, and it's a very delightful, and it's a very nice book, and I'm pretty sure that kids who are between 3 to 6, they will enjoy this book a lot. And another funny part I found is, if you see the back cover, the Muffin is sitting in a bookshelf, and there are many books. I mean, I guess those are the cases Muffin has solved. And by the way, the important thing is Muffin decides to investigate this case. There are no bears in this bakery, and it successfully solves the case. Okay, so getting back to the book titles, or the cases. The first one is The Mystery of How Everything Got on the Floor. The second one is The Secret of the Forbidden Closet. The third one says The Clue Behind the Couch. And the last one is The Puzzle of the Empty Food Dish. It's so funny. I mean, the writing is just amazing. So do check it out. It's a fun book. I'm giving the link below. So check that out in the description box. And let's move on to our second book. Okay, the second book is When Sadness is at Your Door. It's written and illustrated by Eva Ayland. This book was published by Random House. I particularly like these kind of books which talk about emotions and how to deal with them. So I absolutely love this book. And so it starts with this little child who opens the door and finds sadness standing at the doorstep with a small suitcase. So I think the sadness is here to stay. What I like is this personified sadness and overall look of the book, because she has the writer and illustrator. She has used very limited color palette, and the color she has chosen, they suit the tone of the book. And so the whole book, it talks about how to cope up with sadness, or especially the sad feeling. And the best part is that this book tells you that it's okay to be sad, but that doesn't mean that you just sit and sulk. You have to get up and do the things that you have to do or you want to do, even though you are sad. So if you see this kid, uh, first he or she sitting with the sadness, but then this kid starts drawing with sadness, listening to music, eating, going out with sadness. So it's very important for kids to know that it's okay to be sad, but you have to get up and be cheerful, because even though sadness is there is always a new day. And that is the last message this book gives. It says, don't worry, today is a new day. And if you see the end papers, the front end paper, here you see the people who are just ignoring sadness, or maybe they are not dealing with it. Do you see the sadness, the green person or figure, whatever, and people who are really sad? And if you see the last end paper, it tells you that it's good to interact with sadness and find your way out of it. It's a beautiful book, and it reminds me of another book which was published 2 to 3 years ago by an Indian author, Roma Chadha. That book was about anger, and the name of the book was The Unwanted Guest. I'm going to give you guys the link for that book as well, and do check it out. This book, it's a great book for kids who are between 5 to 8. It's a lovely book. I absolutely enjoyed it. So that's all, folks, for today. There are so many amazing children's books which you can read out loud, or the kids who can read, they will enjoy the books. There are so many beautiful books which talk about different cultures, about human emotions, about learning new things, or just fun books like this No Bear in the Little Bakery, that kind of books. So do check them out. I'm giving the links for these two books and Unwanted Guest in the description box. And if you guys have any book suggestions, do let me know in your comments. And I'll be back next week with 2 new books. Until then, enjoy your weekend. See you. Bye bye.